Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the No Shots Fired podcast. Sorry, we've had a bit of a hiatus over the last, I guess it's been about, a long time, actually.
A bit. It's been a bit.
I've been traveling to find the greatest games from all corners of the earth. Doc has been fighting against flooding. Junkblade hasn't fought against any of those things, but it's hard to do a podcast alone. Well, for us, it would be. Anyway, it's episode 24. It's The Old Man from Scene 24 is the title of this one, because. And our topics tonight are Hollow Knight, Counterstrike, Darkest Dungeons, and Dungeons and Dragons. Games you wouldn't play again. That's going to be the big one. We're going to try to talk about that for at least 4 minutes. And want to give a shout out to our man ProZD because he's the best. And as always,
us these last few days.
Very much so. To the point where I wish he had more content because I think I've watched all of his stuff. And finally, we will, as always, end the episode with 30 to 40 minutes of taking your questions. That's usually as long as it takes. So
we'll go through every single question.
We always do. You know, that's a big thing about this. No matter how long it takes or how long we have to stay here, we answer every goddamn question.
That's right.
But let's jump right in. So Junkblade's been playing Hollow Knight, which I think I've talked about before. We could probably pull up an old episode of me saying why I liked it.
Hollow Knight update.
But we want to talk to him about what he's enjoying with it so far, where he is, and what he wants to do, and yada, yada, yada. Transition into Junkblade.
All right, so I think I'm very close to the end of the game. Of course, I don't know where the actual end of the game is, so I'm saying this simply based off of what I've encountered. For all I know, I'm like 5% of the way through the game.
Sure, sure.
How many like thingies do you have? What are they?
I have
circle thingies.
I've got like 26 or 27 charms.
Is that a pretty good indicator, Valen, of progress?
Charms are a good indicator. Yeah.
I think I've freed like 30 some of the grubs.
Also a good indicator.
That feels like a lot.
I
freed every grub, so
I'm going to attempt to do that, but it's taking a while. I can't seem to find the map for Fog Canyon. I think there's like a charm I need to be able to get through these weird areas that I haven't found yet, so that's going to take a while.
So you haven't made it into Fog Canyon, or you haven't...
I've made it into Fog Canyon, but there are these weird black energy barrier things that I can't go through yet.
You've got a little bit more to go then.
Okay.
I also need to actually finish the Coliseum of Fools.
It took me a long time to beat the last.
The last one is just brutal.
It's very brutal. But that's part of why I like the game is I felt compelled to do all of that stuff.
Worthwhile rewards, or just kind of doing it itself was its own...
I don't remember what the reward was. It was more that I did it kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
The first 2 rewards are worthwhile. The third is just money, which is super easy to get at that point in the game.
Okay.
Like, you can just keep going through the first 2 trials to get money at that point, so...
It is super easy. This is a minor... have you found the girl who has a bank set up?
Yes, I have. And I... Spoiler, found her again after she ran off with all my money.
Yeah, I didn't give her any money super early in the game. I did very late when I had a ton of it, and she ran off with all of it. But then I found her actually not too long after that. But that was kind of a depressing moment for me. Spoiler, the bank is fake, so...
But you get like 3,000 past whatever you put into it, so it's still worth it as long as you can find her again.
If you can find her, yeah.
Okay.
The part that has me really hyped up is I fought Hornet the second time, and just the whole dialogue stuff with her.
Hornet's a great character. The whole thing is actually with very little dialogue and very little actual like word-based storytelling. It tells a great visual story.
I think at this point I need to go into the castle, and also you could have guessed this from the fact I'm having trouble with Fog Canyon, find the third Watcher.
Yeah, so you've got a decent amount left. And getting into Fog Canyon is gonna it requires an ability that you will find very useful for a lot of the stuff. I would personally hold off on the Coliseum of Fools for a little bit and come back and deal with that later. But if
I only have the third trial left at this point, so I'll wait till later. The other thing that I'm not looking forward to trying to have to beat is Nightmare King Grimm.
I don't remember the names of anybody. I'm gonna look him up.
Sounds not good.
He's as not good as he sounds.
So here, I'm still I'm 2 or 3 hours into it. I think. What do you think of the mechanic where like dying, you have to kind of go back and like defeat your ghost type thing?
Well, I play Dark Souls, so I'm kind of used to that. It's not.
Between that, I think Shovel Knight does a similar thing. But in Dark Souls, do you have to defeat like yourself, even if it's just like one hit or something, or is it just kind of sitting where you died?
He's sitting wherever you die, and then you have to. It takes 2 or 3 hits to kill him, depending on how far upgraded your nail is.
Oh, no, in Dark Souls.
Oh, in Dark Souls, it's just wherever you died. That's where your souls are.
Okay.
You can get them back if you don't die again before you reach there.
Yeah, I say Shovel Knight's the same thing where your stuff's kind of just floating. Where you died, you don't have to like defeat yourself. So I thought that it was kind of an interesting wrinkle to that kind of system.
Agreed.
I don't think I ever died to myself is all, though, so...
I don't think I've died to myself in this either. It was usually dying on the way there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was stuck in a really awful spot.
You know, I looked up Nightmare King Grimm, and I don't think I ever fought that guy. Is he... That's kind of bugging
I thought
me now.
somebody 100%ed everything. And
I only 100% of the grubs. I returned them to their grub mother, father, whatever.
Grub father. He's got glasses and a very bushy mustache.
The Grub Allfather.
Yes.
But I know I did that because they all like get together and jump away or something. I can't remember. But spoiler, I guess. It's not a big part of it's not like a big twist.
Yeah.
That they all
Yeah, I'm not mentioning any plot things because Dave, you're playing and I don't know who
Well, I'm going to.
in our audience is playing.
You probably don't have to worry about me.
Fair enough.
Nightmare King Grimm must be so at some point in the game you've got to collect I don't know I can't remember what you call that. You're powering something up to do something. You need
At some point in the game you find this like shrine and you light the fires and then this carnival appears in Dirtmouth. And then you go in the carnival and you start talking to you
never did any of that.
Yeah, you missed a big part.
You've stumbled.
I mean, I beat the game.
That's not like a DLC thing? Junkblade, maybe?
It might be.
Okay.
I don't actually know.
I like 90. So in my game
this month,
in my game, which is also probably your game, but I like 98% of it. Like I only didn't do very little of the game, so maybe that's
like the 2% that you didn't do.
Maybe that's completely possible.
August 23rd is the last DLC for Hollow Knight
of 2017.
No, this year. You got hot new content a coming.
But there hasn't. So
I didn't. It just said the last, so I assume it's not the first.
White Nova, welcome to the chat. Our only really loyal follower.
We do have to play Rocket League with White Nova.
We do have to. I mean, I just want to play in general. We haven't played in so long. Sorry, White Nova. I have been traveling. Doc has been up to his neck, and you can actually see behind him the water he's been dealing.
Yes. There's a Rubbermaid full of towels back there, too.
His basement is now known as the Drowned Kingdom, which is probably in several games.
They're trying to quiet me, but they can't.
And Junkblade just can't really... Well, he can cast without us. It's just... I would find it incredibly difficult to talk.
Not on this channel, he can't.
Well, that's true. Yeah, actually, that's true. I guess I can't.
I could talk for an hour, but it would.
Well, I guess, yeah.
I would be tripping over myself a lot, for one.
Caveat, it wouldn't be, yeah, I could do it, it just wouldn't be interesting.
It wouldn't be as dynamic as it is with the three of us.
Well, we are dynamic, aren't we? That's a good way to describe us. Dynamic.
All right. So still enjoying Hollow Knight, I guess is the takeaway.
Still enjoying Hollow Knight.
Good.
I give it a 4 out of 5 stars.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really liked that game.
I see your 4.5 and raise you a 4.51.
Well, I mean, I'm happy.
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure I'm willing to sign off on allowing our rating system to go to the 100th decimal.
It kind of defeats the 5-star rating system. If you even doing half stars kind of destroys that, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I'll go 4 stars.
Because then it's functionally at best a 10.
It's a 10-star system, yeah.
And that's if you don't include quarters, because then it gets crazy.
It's good. Would play.
White Nova.
It's good. That's the way to.
White
That's
Nova
the thing to take from this.
Brings up a good point. Why isn't Red Dead 2 at the top of tonight's agenda?
I'm going to be honest. I couldn't care less about that game.
Everybody's very excited about it.
Everyone really is, and I just okay.
I never played the original, so I can't really.
I did not do that, and Rockstar Games have just not. They don't do it for me.
My only problem, White Nova, is I love the idea. I played the first one for a very short amount of time, and I played it until there's some sort of obnoxious battle where you're on like a steamboat in a river and there's like cannons, and you know what I like is not killing like hundreds of people. If I have to kill like especially when in a Western scenario, like if I'm in a shootout and I get a couple people, that's kind of my jam. Because then it feels like I'm a Western. But if I'm just like taking cannons and blowing up some people,
the entire population of New Mexico is no more.
It breaks,
just as happened in real life.
Exactly. The when that gunboat army destroyed all of New Mexico. If I'm gonna get into a game, I don't like that breaks the cowboy fourth wall for me, and then I just kind of lost interest.
It makes sense to me.
I may give it a go, but I will not pay full price for it.
I frankly probably won't play it at all because there's too many other things that I already have on my backlog. And
Junkblade, come on, that's not
to watch rather than play.
And you're not going to be hurting for people streaming that, I'm sure. So
no.
I will say that at least the cowboy aspect is a little more interesting to me than any of the GTA games have been, because those I cannot for more than a couple hours. And
it always turns in the GTA games for me always just turn into I'm wreaking havoc and ramping cars, and I never get that much into like the story or whatever.
No, everyone's kind of an asshole, and that's kind of it.
Right. I don't like any of the. Again, like I don't like any of the characters, and I feel invincible. I need to feel like there are consequences to what I do. In that game, I could run over 5 cops, and if I just outrun the cops for a little bit, then everybody forgets about it. And
Now Crackdown. Now that was a good version of that, because you were like a superhero, and you could essentially just leap up buildings. Like it was a open world. Did anyone play Crackdown?
No.
I've
never heard of Crackdown.
It was enough on the ridiculous end that that's what made it fun. Like you would I'd equip a sniper rifle and just be leaping from building to building, just sniping people halfway across the city. So that was good. You just pick up cars and just throw them. And
actually, White Nova does bring up a good point. He says for him that GTA is much more of a role play, and I do agree. If you play it like that, if you play it as if you're a person and your actions have consequences.
Yeah, but then you take one turn too tight on your way to the fucking whorehouse. You clip a pedestrian, then it's all gone to hell.
Right. And you run from the cops. And
then it's just you could. My role play lasts for maybe 15 minutes. It's the problem.
Well, it's And part of it is example, if I was going to really go all out, then I'd be like obeying traffic laws and stuff. And it's kind of hard to do that in the game. Like I always accidentally then, ram other cars or I'm out of lane. And it gets really boring too if you're traveling like the speed limit.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't built for that.
Yeah, they do not want you to do that. But
good
graphics for Red Dead 2. I will say that.
And also, they've made so much money that
God, it's gross. Gross how much money that's made.
And I'm sure Red Dead 2 will make people very happy.
Yep.
White Nova likes to get his mobile unit and pretend it's a motocross trailer, head up the trail and ride, and then go off my secret trail and go swimming, and then hop back on and ride. See, I like this. You're building a story. You're building a narrative. That is something good about if you've got an imagination and patience, you can do in an open world game.
I have neither of those things.
Yeah, that's generally can be my problem too. All right, which brings us off of Hollow Knight, and we got bonus content now. Red Dead 2.
There you go. Talked about it.
We're on the hype train, guys. Choo, choo, choo.
We are in the discourse.
Which brings us back.
Let's say, continuing in the discourse, Counterstrike.
Yeah, to jump back.
A hot new game.
So, there actually has been an update in Counterstrike. The user interface has been upgraded.
What?
It is. Yeah, you should log on.
I know they made Steam all wonky.
They also have made Counter-Strike all wonky. I don't know that I like it at all. It has very much a PUBG or maybe like a Fortnite feel now. I know.
Just
they've also made Skype all wonky, and that's why most of my friends are abandoning ship for Discord.
I think Skype has always been wonky.
But, okay, but what you and
me and
very
Jay Money,
rare time podcast guest host Jay Money.
Right. What would you call that? A special guest?
I would call him traitor to the Rocket League pitch.
Sure, traitor to the Rocket League pitch. Jay Money. We have been playing Counter-Strike. We like to use, I think, the latest gun to be added to the game, which is the R8. It's a revolver. You can use it to replace the Desert Eagle. So, not the most effective gun, but it's fun to use. It's very high power. So we either use R8s all the time, or part of our game is also we try to get our teammates kicked from the game. And we've been we have a log, and we keep a log of the cumulative amount of time that we have got our opponent. That we've cost people. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And we're up to over 33 days now. And now, in all fairness, 28 of those days came from 4 bans that we got people banned for a whole week.
Oh.
So but we have got, because most of the bans are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But it feels really good when you get somebody who's obviously a troll like us, because they've been kicked a number of times. And just for the uninitiated, the way the ban system works in Counter-Strike is your first ban, and you get bans for doing things like team killing, or if you commit suicide too much, or if you kick too many teammates. Basically the kind of negative stuff that they want to...
you get kicked too many times, right? Didn't we have that?
Yep, that can happen. They don't want to disincentivize that sort of, the behavior that Jay Money and I are...
actively participating.
Right. So your first ban is only 30 minutes. If I think you have a cooldown period of, I don't know what it is initially, like a day or two. You have to go another day. It might even be like a week.
Is it 30 minutes and then I thought there was like some sort of hours.
So it's 30 minutes, then it's 2 hours, then it's 24 hours, then it's a week. So it's a 4-tiered ban system. And then within the week one, I know from personal experience that you need to wait like a week before getting another ban, before like your ban resets. It's not permanent. Like I'm back down to the point where if I get banned, it's going to be there for 30 minutes. So when I say we've caused 33 days of the bans, 4 of those were big bans. We got people who were apparently trolls like us, or got kicked off in like a week-long ban, which I imagine people aren't too happy about.
Probably not. That's not an insignificant amount of time.
especially since one of the ways we do it sometimes, if people won't just actually kill us, which results in a ban after a few team kills. If they won't actually kill us, then what we start doing is if they throw a fire grenade, for instance, the incendiary grenades in the game cause an overtime damage effect. We run into the fire, and that's a good way to get people kicked. Or we're really good now at running in front of people as they're shooting. Like, people realize if they've killed me and Justin twice, the third kill or even damage at that point usually gets you kicked. But we're also aware of that, so they're careful and they try to avoid us, but we just follow them around, and when they start shooting, we run in front of their guns. They shoot us, they get kicked. It's good times. You might ask yourself, why?
I say, Junkblade, you don't want to play Counterstrike with us? I don't get
it. You might ask yourself, why do we do this? And I don't know that I could answer that.
Well, it's not like we've got other. We don't have other games to play, you know.
I think the answer is that we're all just horrible people.
Well, partially. In all fairness, we usually don't do it just right off the bat. But we usually do it in reaction to something our teammates do.
People are garbage. It's a problem.
Yeah. The Counter-Strike community is horribly toxic, so it's not like it's very rare to find bad teammates. And generally, what started happening is because we like using the R8, which a lot of people don't like, then people get really mad at us because we're using
I don't like it.
Nobody likes it. So they start getting very toxic toward us, and we respond by trying to get them kicked. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit of back and forth generally. We rarely just arbitrarily target people for no reason, although we have.
Nothing will ever beat the Halo 2 method of killing yourself so quickly that people left the game.
That was the best.
I still remember the one time I was playing Capture the Flag with with Valen and our younger brother, and we were on separate teams because the matchmaking in that game was not great. So I would just keep stealing their flag and jumping off the edge with it, because it would take a while for the flag to actually respawn.
That was fantastic. And
classic
it's really hard
double agent.
Yeah, it's really hard to capture a flag if Junkblade, was that the game? I remember one game in particular. Was that the game where we were playing somebody who were like pro caliber, and we ended up tying with them even though one of us was on their team and doing that with the flag, because this guy
must have been the same game, because I only ever remember doing that the one time.
This guy was was legitimately the best Halo person I think I'd ever played against, and we tied with him despite the fact that he had somebody on his team that he couldn't kill, running away. Like he would capture our flag, and we would let him because we would run as far away with it as possible.
Yeah,
it was truly.
Someone did actually just betray me and take the flag because they had enough of my shit.
Right.
Oh,
but also in that game, you can only do that so much, or people can boot you. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, we used to get booted just on like random.
Yeah, we got pretty bad about betraying people in that game. Yeah, but our favorite one was on some maps, and especially in the where you didn't have a shield in Halo, you could just grenade and kill yourself. And so we would do that. We would just keep doing that over and over because there's no consequences. Your score just keeps going negative. But then people, because they didn't want to play a game with people who are just killing themselves, would quit the game, thus awarding us the victory.
Yeah.
The other things I remember were one time, this was on Halo 3, on the Sand Dune map that we always played on because we hated every other map.
I actually liked a lot of maps in the game, but the Sand Dune one was my favorite one.
Tommy Tom shot the rocket launcher from halfway across the map at nothing and hit someone.
That was his sort of thing.
I think that was one of the maps I got a perfection, and like with the end of the game, you guys were all like around me in that huge elephant vehicle.
Yeah,
we were driving around trying to get the clock to go out.
Sounds plausible.
I remember that. We were all just because that was the big 8-on-8. That was fantastic, and we just were just bodyguards. God, they made such fantastic maps for Halo 3.
Yeah.
Because Valhalla I thought was really good.
Yeah, it was a good mix of the like they brought updated some old ones and then the new ones they had. Like Zanzibar Halo 3?
Zanzibar was Halo 3, yep. That was a really good one too. Oh yeah, Zanzibar was great because it was so you had like the attack and defense kind of like that's how Zanzibar was set up. But man, they just did Halo 3 really well.
Good game. Good game.
Which brings us perfect segue into Darkest Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, it's two different games combined into one, and I don't know how to.
Well, yeah, but I didn't want to say Dungeons twice again. So.
Darkest Dungeon and Dungeons and Dragons.
I didn't want to say Dungeon twice, and it's unwieldy.
Could have said D&D, I guess. That would have worked.
I actually don't have
D&D and D&D.
Yep.
How about that? DD and D&D.
I don't have a D&D update because I went to Gen Con last week instead.
We should have a Gen Con update then. That's
okay, so this year was pretty uneventful. I took my friend along because he'd never been, and I did not want to go without a co-pilot for a bunch of reasons. We ended up just spending all of our time in the dealer hall, which sounds like a waste of time to some of you, I'm sure, but I always enjoy myself, even if I'm just looking at different cool stuff I can buy.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting, well, I would have gotten a little bit more, but I ended up buying some things for my friends who will pay me back later. So I picked up a couple of cards because, I'm a dork. And then 2 Warhammer 40,000 models that you can't actually get here in the United States under normal circumstances.
Imports, hot imports.
You have to order them from the UK.
Wow. Why do you have to order them from the UK?
They're made by a subsidiary of Games Workshop called Forge World that only has, manufacturing plants in the UK.
Oh, okay.
There are none here in the United States, so
never heard of,
there are no
postal service
distributors, basically.
Well, what describe the figures?
Mortarion Reaper Primarch of the Death Guard.
That's a good name.
Callus
Could we make that
first captain of the Death Guard?
Wait, hang on. You lost me.
Sorry.
Okay. Mortarion Reaper Primarch of the Death Guard.
What about Mortarion Daemon Primarch of Nurgle?
That is the same guy 10,000 years later.
Ah.
Sure. A little older, a little wiser.
Mortarion
Older, yes. I'm not sure I would go with wiser. The last guy I wanted to get...
Hang on. I'm getting an image of this guy.
Okay.
Is it Scytheman?
Here, give me just a moment.
Does he have a huge scythe? And like a cape, and he's standing on a steampunk thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That sounds accurate.
But not wing guy.
That is him 10,000 years later.
Oh.
After being corrupted by Nurgle.
Alright. What's the other one you got again? What was it?
Callus Typhon, first captain of the Death Guard.
Oh, boy.
Who also has a 40k model, but he's called Typhus there.
Callus Typhon, so Calas. And then kind of like Typhoon, but one less O.
Oh, he's also standing on steampunky.
Yes. I've gotten these minis primed, but I have not started painting them just yet.
God, this looks exhausting to paint. Oh, what color are you going to paint all those little skulls in the bottom there?
Where are the skulls?
Beneath his feet. Ish.
I haven't decided yet.
This kind of looks like one of the... Valen, you remember that strike in The Taken King where you fight the brothers?
Yeah.
It looks like one of those guys.
Oh, it does kind of look like a brother.
The Shield Brothers or whatever the name was.
Those poor guys just dying over and over and over again.
They really did. I can't remember what we were trying to get.
We're trying to do something. I don't remember.
I think there was a scout rifle. I think I was jonesing for.
Boy, that game really jumped the shark.
When does that come out? I have hopes for this. The changes they've talked about.
All right,
and I want to try that new mode for sure.
The shooting does feel awesome in that game. And in case anybody who has just tuned in wonders what we're talking about Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm. And I think we can get from like the freedom they're giving you with the loadouts. I think is at least like I can at least do things that I want to do, whether they're good or not. I don't necessarily care anymore. But like, if I want to, I like that. If I want to roll all shotguns, I can do that and just either annoy the people on the other team or people on my team. So,
White Nova says, "Do you mean Halo 7?"
I wish I meant Halo 7, White Nova.
I also wish that.
Are they gonna make another? Capture the flag. I would say not in the super near future. They did a teaser. There's a teaser trailer at E3 for Halo Infinite, but there's not. We know nothing about it. So that is end of next year, if anything, would be my guess.
In other gaming-related news, since we try to keep people updated on all things gaming-related, Hearthstone came out with a new expansion recently. Dr. What's it called?
Boomatoria?
I honestly don't remember. I have actually taken a little bit of a break from Hearthstone, and will probably end up getting back into it in a week or two.
Boom Palace?
Sometimes I just get sick of the meta to the point where I'm like, I can't even play this anymore, and just have to take a break.
It's the Boomsday Project.
The Boomsday Project. Also, I did want to mention that last mini real quick before we got completely off of that topic. Sure. So the first two I mentioned ended up becoming traitors. This last guy stayed a loyalist. His name is Nathaniel Garrow, Hand of the Sigillet.
We should make one of these guys an episode title.
Where I say that we're finding some fertile ground after the Street Fighter titles.
Right.
Which is some good stuff.
Oh, I like this one. He does have a sword. They should wear helmets. I don't get these guys.
I hate the lack of helmeted
They got
heads.
So much armor everywhere else.
Everything else is
jeez.
It just feels like a drastic oversight.
Your noggin's important, guys.
Well, in addition to being a drastic oversight, the molds for a lot of the non-helmeted heads just look bad.
Helmets
was your Callus Typhon helmeted or not helmeted? I'm seeing both here.
He came with two heads, and I went with the helmeted one because I like the helmet head better.
Yeah, the other head doesn't. Ew, he's got like pipes in his. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Why does he have pikes in it? What's purpose to those?
Pipes. Brain fluid, probably. I don't know.
Sure. If I recall correctly, the planet him and Mortarion come from is like super toxic, but they've adapted to the toxins.
Doesn't sound like it if there are any pipes in their head.
Have to, basically they wear. This is another quibble I have with their models. They don't have the gas masks they're supposed to have, which essentially act as respirators for them, since they can breathe incredibly toxic fumes that other people cannot.
Boy, it just sounds like a fantastic, idyllic future. Past?
Right. Well, let's give you...
The tagline is, in the grim darkness of the future, there is only war.
And hammers.
And hammers.
Well, a little background
on the thunder variety.
I want to give the viewers at home a little background on Nathaniel so we get a little flavor. He was the leader of the 70 surviving loyalist Astartes, who alone of the Death Guard Legion escaped the massacre of loyalists at Istvan III aboard the Imperial Navy frigate Eisenstein to bring word of the War Master Horus's betrayal to the Emperor Betrayal of the Emperor to Terra. That is a sentence.
Yes, it is.
Well, one second.
I blacked out. What happened?
Woo! Woo!
So Death Guard, does that mean they just like hang out in cemeteries, or what's up with that?
I can only imagine.
Honestly, I don't know what the reasoning for their name is.
I'm going with cemetery tenders. So these guys are even fighters, right? Caretakers. Okay.
And on that note,
I was D&D. I've been re-listening to the Adventure Zone, and it's wonderful. That's all I have.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I need to give the Adventure Zone a listen.
You would like it. You would love it.
Also, Griffin put like a bunch of the music he made up on Bandcamp. You can pay what you want. So I recently got all of that, and it's gross how good the music that he made is. Also, in addition to the story he wrote,
the music he has for that podcast is awesome.
Yeah. So I recommend checking that out if you got a hankering, which you should because it's great. So,
and since that's a thing that you've done again, perfect way to transition into something that you wouldn't do again, which would in the games. So,
games, there's lots of them. Some good, some not as good. Today we delve into the latter. Junkblade.
Okay, so I would actually call this a good game. It's just the ending fucked me up.
Got it.
Like in a good way, or just like in a whoa?
Well, it sounds in a bad way.
It's sort of like how I don't think I would watch Breaking Bad again, because even though it was a great series, it was just so intense, I don't think I can do it again.
Okay, quick sidebar. Was it?
Everyone liked it. I haven't watched it, so no spoilers, because I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, let me give you my context. I've watched one episode, and Walter White is a douchebag from the start.
Oh, interesting.
I don't care.
That is actually my own perspective.
I thought it was like, a descent into, he's, life treats him bad. He's got no, he was an asshole.
Like
interesting.
From the very start, I'm like, I don't care about this guy. Fuck this guy.
Oh no, I actually have a very similar perspective. Like he already contemplates doing horrible
he kills a guy like 10 minutes in or some shit. It's like, oh, okay. So then I was like, well, I don't need to watch the rest because.
Well, yeah, that's not much of a fall.
There is no fall. He's just a douchebag.
He's just a jerk being a jerk.
It's less a fall and more like he's already in the hole somewhat, and he just decides to let go.
What about we call a new series? Let's pitch this. It's called Jerk Being a Jerk, and it's just.
Isn't that Big Bang Theory?
Oh,
well, we want it to be good.
Fair point. So
now, I enjoyed the first 5 or so seasons of Big Bang Theory. I have not kept up since. I will not.
So, if it's Jerk Being a Jerk but good, that's just It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I can't do that.
That is a. But anyway, we haven't said one game yet we wouldn't play.
So what was the game? What was the game you're talking about, Junkblade?
Transistor by Supergiant Games. They've also made Pyre and Bastion.
Bastion was very good, but I did not get.
Bastion was very good, and I would play again.
Yes,
because and obviously because I'm going to be explaining why I wouldn't play this game again. There are spoilers ahead for Transistor.
Oh yeah, we're gonna spoil like whatever game we talk about. So.
Okay, so general plot of Transistor is
it's a radio.
Bad guys try to kill you with this weird sword thing called the Transistor, and a guy who who is the main character's boyfriend, presumably, jumps in the way and gets sealed within the thing. So he ends up being like your companion through the journey.
Is that in this very start?
Yes, that is the very start.
Well, I missed that.
It's a little unclear what his relations were actually is, but he calls her Red, which is clearly a nickname. And it seems like they have a little bit of a thing going on.
They fucking, that's what you're saying.
Yes, to quote ProZD. Anyway. it goes on, and everything on the planet keeps being absorbed by... Give me just a moment. I can't remember the name of the antagonist thing. The synthesis or something like that. The process.
Ooh.
It just keeps absorbing reality and making more of itself.
I don't know. Wait. Trust the process.
Is this about the 76ers?
I made that joke.
I wanted to make that joke.
But you just... It's not a joke if you say the 70s. I said trust the process.
So, one of the bosses you come across makes the guy in the transistor start acting all weird. Almost like he's drunk and forgetting things. So it's like messing with the data that makes up his...
What is the transistor?
It's this... That is also something that the game is about. Here, I will link you a picture that shows you what the transistor is.
It's this little teeny thing that you use in electronics, mostly.
Well, yes, that too.
There's like a lot of them now.
The weird sword thing that Red is holding there. It can like absorb people's abilities and memories and just practically their soul. And they wanted to do that. And the villains of this, not the process, the human villains wanted to do this to your character. So you're going through and you end up encountering this boss made by the process that is like fucking the transistor up.
Sure.
And eventually you deal with each of the people who made the transistor in turn. Either you try and find them and the process already killed them, or they're hostile towards you and you have to kill them. This is what... After this, Red uses the transistor to restore a little bit of the city. Then she just like sits down and embraces it for a moment, then turns it on herself and kills herself.
Job done, she says.
Because she wanted to be with their boyfriend?
Yeah. There's a little bit after that where it shows that they both went to that world's version of heaven called the country, but it's still like your two main characters dying and going to heaven isn't exactly a happy ending.
No.
Especially when it involves one of them killing themselves.
Yeah. I'll one-up you. What if the main character you've been playing for numerous dozens of hours turns out to be not real?
Maybe they're from a dream.
Fuck you, Final Fantasy X. Fuck you.
Fantasy X.
I didn't waste all that time and vaguely play Blitzball for 20 minutes to have my guy turn out to be fake.
Yeah.
I don't care that he high-fives some asshole at the end of...
Yeah, it's like Salt and Sanctuary also for me, where the combat wasn't fluid enough. If I'm going to do a 2D side-scrolling game, I want to feel like I'm in control of my guy. And by the end of it, I just had really powerful magic, and I would stand in place and take damage while just zapping people with my magic. I wasn't even trying to dodge anymore. You couldn't do enough to dodge or like to really control the character, in my opinion. So.
Come at me.
So I did. I'm like, I can probably kill you before you kill me, and bet. So let's see how it happens. So I wouldn't play that one again.
Let's see.
For those who don't.
Sorry.
Oh, and just for those who don't know, Salt and Sanctuary, a castle, what do you call it? Metroidvania 2D side scroller that I wouldn't play again.
I'm gonna put Heavy Rain and The Last of Us in kind of the same category.
Sure.
Heavy Rain was just kind of like, oh god. All right, I get it. people are.
I'm not going to play Last of Us because you played it. So.
Yeah,
I'm not going to play Last of Us because of what you've told me about Last of Us.
I just wouldn't enjoy it.
Not only will I not play that again, I'm not going to touch the second one just based on what I've seen.
Yeah, there's no way that second one's going to be happy.
Yeah. No, and the violence is just yeah, I guess it's a credit to the animation of that game, but I'm just watching. I'm just like, this is too much. I can't. I don't want to do this. Like,
I would be stressed out the whole time.
And it's just like it's like realistic, and everyone hates the word visceral, but like to a degree that I was like physically uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That and the ending of that first game can fuck off, because you like spend this entire time trying to get this girl who's like immune to zombies to the people who are trying to like create a cure. Then you suddenly realize that she's gonna have to die to try to get the cure out of her. Then ostensibly you can make a few choices in this game, and then it's like, nope, you gotta kill everybody. You kill everybody. Yeah. I'm like, well, I don't want to kill everybody. And then it just ends with her like realizing what you kind of basically realizing what you did and being like, you're a piece of shit. And you're like, yep. And then the game ends and there's like acoustic guitar music, and it's just it ended up like, you know what?
I feel depressed having you talk about it to me. So
yeah.
Here's one. Not going to play again. Gone Home. And not that it was necessarily. I had a certain illusion about what the game was going to be that was not in line with what the game was. And even if I knew what the game was, I still would not play that again. The puzzles in it were not robust enough or interesting enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the story not.
If the story doesn't grab you in that one, I think that's kind of the whole ball game. There's not much else there.
There's not really anything there. And again, even if the story did grab, I really love that story. I really can't imagine if I know the story and the whole point is
there wouldn't be much reason to go through it again.
Figuring out if it's a game based around figuring out what's going on and you figure that out, you kind of lose the whole allure of fighting your way through there's no fighting, but
going through it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just kind of scrolling through my game. Somebody else throw one out there.
I will say that like your kind of headspace going into a game can have a major effect. Like maybe I would.
Oh, absolutely.
Had I played Nier before everyone like shat their pants about it, and just kind of talked ad nauseum about it in the stuff I listened to, maybe I would have been a little more. I don't know. Like sometimes, like praise and stuff can get to a point where like, well, it can't possibly be that good, and that's not a good headspace to enter a game. Because I played that.
I completely agree.
For 4 or 5 hours, and I was like, yeah, okay, I don't care about if
See,
the
thing
or not. So.
The reason why I was fine with Nier is that I'm the one who hyped myself up, because the only thing that I really knew about it was a song that someone made based off the game.
Uh-huh.
And what little clips they used in there.
Mm-hmm.
That was all I knew about the game beforehand.
A ton of people whose opinions I generally, people I've watched long enough to kind of know that they have, a pretty good idea what they're talking about, really liked it. But I think it just got to the point where I just could not go into it. And I've never been super interested in like the AI sentience question, because it's just tedious.
If you're not interested in that, then Nier is not for you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, a lot of times if the subject matter of the game, like the way you've described Nier, I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like it just, whatever. If you're trying to, I also like it's fine. Actually, I'm like this with most things. I can take something that's super serious every once in a while, but a big reason I play video games is to not have to like. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do this. I'm just saying me personally, I'd rather relax and maybe have like a few emotional moments in a game, but mostly relax and enjoy the game rather than like that's why The Last of Us appeals to me like Zero or The Last of Us 2 from the trailer I saw. It's like, I don't want to just be stressed out and sad for multiple hours.
I don't need like continuous examples of how shitty humanity can be. Like I
just don't want to be like, like cringing for.
There's enough real world examples of shitty humanity. I don't need made up ones of zombies and stuff.
It's like The Walking Dead doesn't appeal to me. It's like, all right, if I'm going to like a character, eventually they're going to kill him in some horrible way just to make me feel bad about that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I can do that myself. Ooh, here's a bunch of people you love. Dead. It's not that hard. Like, that's not good writing. That's shitty writing. That's shitty, emotionally manipulative writing.
Plus, it's gross.
Someone said, and I agree, that character death is one of the laziest writing tools
it's absolutely
that
true.
ever be used.
That's why I hated The Departed. Going on a similar.
Me too. Yes, it was good until you realized they didn't know how to end it.
Yeah, they had no idea what to do. It was just like, oh, everyone's okay, cool, fine. You gave up.
Like and that's another reason I like a lot of Quentin Tarantino's movies until the end, when you realize he's written himself into a corner and he just kills everybody.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a really interesting setup you had there, and I realized you didn't know how to get out of that. So bam, 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 all dead.
That dude cannot help himself.
No, he can't.
No.
He really can't. I mean, the few times he hasn't done that are the ones I like the best, and that's Pulp Fiction and like Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
And like every other one of his movies is just everybody, you know.
Well, even in Pulp Fiction, you're kind of like, where?
Yeah, well,
Well, it's over. What?
I liked it because it was like original and different.
Yeah, like that,
it didn't like.
It's a good one.
Didn't really have a story. Yeah, it
wasn't like a super good step forward, but it was better than the other ones.
No, I mean it's just different. You know, it's not.
Yeah,
that's an excellent point.
Fun fact: Quentin Tarantino helped direct some of the scenes for the movie It's Pat.
I don't know. It's Pat.
That's the Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
gender ambiguous character, if I recall.
Movie.
Oh, I do like the Pat character. Wait, they made a movie off of that?
Yeah,
it was the '90s, Alan.
Good.
It was a simpler time. They made a movie out of every one of those Saturday Night Live things.
Have you guys
seen one of the most infamously bad movies of all time?
I mean, that was a fun skit, but I can't imagine you.
I mean, they did a movie about Night at the Roxbury where guys just did this in the.
That's right. They did do that. Why did they do that? God. Talk about movies you wouldn't want or things you wouldn't do again. Holy heck!
Oh, Chris Kattan.
What's he doing now?
You know,
as time passed him by,
hopefully he got enough money from that. You don't have to do shit.
Probably, right? I don't know how that works.
You'd be sitting all right.
It always depends on what the famous thing, like how many drugs he did versus how much money he got. It's a balancing act.
Or how many, I could buy 6 houses.
Yeah, the Nicolas Cage or Johnny Depp or any one of many, many people you would think would have more money than God problems. Charlie Sheen.
Yes.
I need to spend $100,000 a month on wine. One of them did something like that, so there you go.
That's Johnny Depp.
No, that was my assumption. Thank you.
So Darkest Dungeon update.
Mm.
Fuck the Crimson Court. It's horrible. It was not worth the $5 I spent on it. I will never go activate that DLC again.
It didn't sound like it was headed in a good direction from your updates. So
I restarted the file. I got so annoyed with it.
Oh no!
Wow. Oh yeah, I forgot because you had some unfortunate.
This may have been selfish, but I died. So I was like, really? I died because of unlucky bullshit in a dungeon that I didn't like in the first place? Yeah, we're done with this.
Also, if you die, I mean, who's there to lead the party? You can't even really manage the keyboard because you're dead, so I think that's fair. I do stuff like that.
That would be a problem.
That's a Valen thing, so it's like, well, I'm dead. I have to... This file's over.
Valen's fun, self-enforced game rules.
Do you like playing games? Well, fuck that.
On that topic...
Perhaps you'd like to add more tediousness to these games.
I actually have a question for Valen.
Yes.
Can you remind me of what all your self-imposed Final Fantasy Tactics rules are?
Well, there's several different.
I do remember that you can't use resurrection items.
Well, that was in one of the playthroughs. There was no any sort of resurrection item, so no Phoenix Down, no raise. You could use potions and healing items, but also in that one, so it's kind of like imagine these are boxes you can check if these are actual options in the game. The big one we would do initially is no characters who have been part of the main storyline at any point. You have to use the random people from the Soldier Academy.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's like the first one. So it's all people that you can name, and they're just random scrubs. Because the game is actually very easy if you use any combination of the named characters you get in it. It's pretty easy to beat. It's a little more difficult if you use your own characters. Tier 2 of using the random people in the like the Soldier Academy that you find in every town is there are 2 kind of character stats in the game that affect how good your guy is at either melee or magic. There's like spirit and fighting. I don't know, whatever, you get the point. There's like basically a magic skill and a fighting skill. Mm-hmm. Magic skill makes you take more magic damage, but give out more magic damage. The physical skill is just good. It just makes you do more physical damage and take less physical damage. So ideally, you want a guy like that has a high physical attribute, and so you can sort through these soldiers because it just randomly assigns this stat along a certain scale. Mm-hmm. You can sort through them and you can find the best rando soldiers, the guys who are most resistant to physical damage, and if you want, who are the best magic dealers. But what we did when we would play through it, me and Madamus and Tommy Tom, you would get you'd say, all right, I'm going to hit the button 3 times to refresh the character, and then that's the guy I get. And he might be really shitty then. So that was tier 2. First, we're using all scrubs. Then we're using randomized scrubs, so they might even be really bad. Then we would you couldn't use resurrection magic. You could only use potions. So, I mean, I'm trying to think what else we would do. Probably did some, remember one playthrough, we only used clerics for some reason. And the cleric, their main job is to throw out potions. They're a really weak character. They can equip guns, but they're not good. One playthrough, actually, Thomas found a really interesting thing you could do in the game. Thomas, there's a lot of really tactics is amazing. They have a lot of really random stuff you can do in the game. There's a ton of hidden areas. There's you can go hunting for animals. There's a specific skill you can get where if you kill wild animals and you have this skill, they'll drop a certain pelt or something. You get these pelts and you take them to certain places in the world and you trade them in for items. Thomas discovered that you could kill these certain animals and their pelts you could trade in for this perfume. A perfume can only be equipped by female characters. Okay. This perfume gives any female character constant, it's called re-raise. It's just this constant effect that when you're downed, at some point, eventually, you'll just pop back up. So you can the female character can never die. And so he had a team of all female ninjas with all of these potions, and he would just have them run around killing everything, and he would hide in the corner. And uh-oh, did I lose you guys?
I still hear you.
I still hear you.
Sorry, I lost you guys for a second there. But anyway, so he would hide in the corner because the main character is a man, so he couldn't equip it. But he would just hide in the corner, have his ninjas run around and kill everybody. And another thing he would do is on certain maps against certain bosses, the bosses will be wearing unique armor that if you can steal it from them, it's better than any other armor in the game. But it's really hard to do that. Against bosses, your chance of stealing items is extremely low. But when you have an army of constantly resurrecting ninjas/thieves, he would just surround the person and just try to steal it over and over again until he stole all of the best armor in the game from people.
I seem to recall you guys doing that with the Black Knight guy who starts out on your side and then betrays you.
Yeah, you can steal his blood sword, which is a rare. There's a lot of stuff like that where there's certain items you can only get at one point in the game, and that's only if you steal it from a certain character. So we would we would spend a lot of time playing through certain levels, trying to steal certain items and stuff like that. It really was a fantastic game. Anyway, enough of that. And also, we're probably getting close to our hour.
We are.
I don't know when.
We're actually a few minutes over.
Okay. Well, at that point, White Nova, if you've got any questions, we'll talk about ProZD next week, I guess. Dang.
Well, I think we just wanted to say that he's fantastic. Go check out his YouTube channel. They are absolutely a hoot. So
yeah, White Nova, if you have any questions, or anybody else in chat, I think our bot friends might have got. Nope, they're back. Commander Root and Decaf Smurf. Don't worry, they're there.
Keep that viewer count up.
I actually have a question.
Ooh.
Oh, this is unusual. This is unorthodox.
Okay, so you, Valen, have come to the conclusion that I'm reasonably close to finishing Hollow Knight, correct?
Yes, close enough. I mean, 70-80% probably.
So I'm deciding between two games to pick up after this is done.
Okay.
Because, Darkest Dungeon is just sort of an ongoing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Golden Sun.
Ooh.
Suikoden 2.
Suikoden 2. I loved that game.
Have you played either of those?
At all.
You found a copy of Suikoden 2?
I would, I don't have a copy of Suikoden 2. I would, use the internet.
Not cheap.
Yeah,
we had that game, and then it got lost by somebody.
I think the Childers, our cousins still have it, Quentin and them.
I know might exist somewhere. If it works, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that game. I love it. So a combination of your classic turn-based RPG where the guys line up and fight each other, and then also they had a little fun segues where you'd have a more like chess-like map battles between armies. I loved the story. I thought the story was fantastic.
Well, just a bananas number of characters too, right?
That too. You can get like 100 and some characters, and it's the classic getting people to join your side thing. You've got to do something, usually find them an item or whatever. It's just a fantastic game.
I've heard Luca Blight is one of the best villains.
Luca Blight. I hate that guy so much. He was such an asshole. I mean, but like just a good asshole.
Sort of like Raid from Ogre Battle.
Yeah, like Raid from Ogre Battle, although I dislike Luca Blight more. And, I guess, spoiler alert, at some point you get to defeat him. But just the build-up to actually defeating him is so good because it's just fantastic. It's not just you finally get to him in like one battle. Anyway, you'll see it when and if you can get your hands on a copy.
All right.
Yes.
I will say a new game that it's getting really good reviews that I think might be up
Dead Cells.
Yes, Dead Cells. Up either both your guys' alleys is probably Dead Cells. So
everybody's talking about that right now.
Mm-hmm. But
you know what I think I would do in the future? The only reason I heard about that, well, actually for Steam too, but I would, if I were IGN, I would intentionally plagiarize a review on it. Well, no, actually, what I would do is if I were Dead Cells, I would pay somebody to intentionally plagiarize a review because that got more press than Dead Cells did. The fact that somebody
it certainly
IGN,
didn't hurt. Yeah,
that's how I found out about it because somebody plagiarized somebody else's review.
I had actually heard people of the podcast I listen to have been talking about because that's been out in alpha and beta. They've been talking about it for months. I feel like I was almost surprised that it wasn't out already. So, and
that's just supposed to be a good Castlevania side scroller guy.
I think it's kind of like a rogue. It's like that, but also kind of roguelike elements. So,
what differentiates roguelike? Is that just because you can go anywhere?
Like if you die, you're dead, and you have to restart. It's like you have runs, but there might be some like Rogue Legacy had some persistent elements, like you carry traits over.
Okay.
I don't know if Dead Cells has that, but I know every run is different. So in terms of the weapons you get are different. So it's a variety in that sense. So
sure.
Yeah, I want to watch another video or two before I decide if I'm going to pick it up. But that does look like something you guys might like. So
All right.
But
and on that note,
I'm putting it here because I always follow through on what I say here. Yeah. I'm going to set a date between this podcast and the next podcast where the three of us are going to do a randomizer.
Yeah, we should do that, and we should stream it.
And we're going to stream it, and we're going to do it, and it's going to be great at some point before the next podcast.
All right.
Well, I'm sure my run won't be great because I have
none of our runs are going to be good, Junkblade. Don't worry about it.
But we're working together. We're fighting together.
I say we're having fun. We're finding items. We're going, oh, this is silly. And then, yeah. I didn't start the outro music yet. Keep talking. Just kidding.
Well, thanks for stopping by. We are No Shots Fired. This has been episode 24. It's Man from Scene 24. You can see the similarity because the episode number is the same as that Monty Python reference. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for stopping by. Please tune in next week for episode 25 when we get to 100 episodes. Wow. It's only taken us 3+ years.
Some amount of time. Doesn't matter.
No, it's irrelevant.